Hello YouTube, it's Little Derek.comics back with another video, and today we are going to be going over the Season 3.0 roadmap, and then I will be giving my review on all of Season 2. So if you like Marvel Rivals and you want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more, and without further ado, we are going to get started. All right, so first off, I'm going to try to share it on the screen, but season 3.0 starts on July 11th, and we have our new hero, Jean Grey, aka Phoenix. So yeah, we have a new Clintar map. It's a domination map, and I'm always a fan of those. I wish we had more domination matches in competitive. It feels like most of the time it's either a convergence or a convoy map, which they're fine, but I wish I had just a little bit more domination. I feel like that's where it's at. But outside of that, we have the new battle pass. It's full of these Venom skins and Phoenix skins for each of the characters. I think it looks really cool. And we have a new event with Storm. You can unlock a symbiote Storm skin. I think that's really cool. I love when they add the free stuff. I really do. I love those free events with the free costumes. So that's a good sign, but let's continue. And then on July 18th, we have the summer party. So we'll have another event and we'll have some new summer skins, and I think that's really cool. Summer skins are always great for games, especially games like this where you can give sexy outfits to the men and the women. I think this will be really cool, and they all look cool from the ones they've shown. Psylocke looks, oh my gosh, she looks fine. But Luna Snow looks great. Loki looks pretty sick with his skin. Thor looks great too. I'm glad both of them got a skin. I'm really curious to see the event though, and which one, if any of them gets a free skin. Usually with these kind of seasonal events, they give a free skin. So I'm curious if they do that. But yeah, moving on. Then July 25th, we have Marvel Studios, The Fantastic Four First Steps. I don't remember if that's when the movie actually comes out. I think it is. It only makes sense. But they have these new movie inspired skins. So the MCU skins are kind of hit and miss, but these look fantastic. I no pun intended, but yeah, they look great. And then we will have a special team up between, it looks like, The Thing and Johnny Storm. So I'm really curious how that'll work. Johnny doesn't have any team specific things where like he gets a new move or anything. Like he gets a little overshield on the general fantastic team up. This might be something completely new. They said special team up. We don't really see that too often. But yeah, that's interesting that they've given this the Fantastic Four. But let's move on to August 1st. So we get two new skins. We'll get the Phoenix Demon and Phoenix Panther. The Phoenix Panther looks pretty sick. I know everybody's looking forward to like the new Magic Phoenix Demon skin, but the Black Panther one looks pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of reminds me of something from Mortal Kombat. But and then we finish this off August 8th. Coming soon, we'll have season 3.5, and that's where we'll get Blade and all the other cool stuff. I think there's gonna be a competitive mode. They haven't showed it on this immediate season 3.0 roadmap, so I'm gonna assume that will come in season 3.5. I think they might have even said that. But before I go on, I do want to mention how neat this is, how they kind of lay out everything that's happening within the season. They might add more as they go along, but the fact that we have kind of confirmation of when these things are coming and we kind of get to see how season 3.0 is going to go along is pretty cool. I like how they did this one for this season. Now let's move on to my review of season 2. So there's a lot to talk about and unpack with season 2. There was a lot of good, there was a lot of bad. And I'm just kind of going to go throughout the season and kind of give some basic rundown of how the season went. So, if you aren't too familiar, or if you're watching this video later on throughout the year or this game's life cycle, this was the season where we got Emma Frost and Ultron. So it was the Krakoa slash Arakko season, and it was really amazing. I think Emma Frost was a great addition to the tank lineup. We kind of really needed it. There was very few tanks, but yeah, she added a lot to the game. She could shred other tanks. She could kind of peel the back line and everything. She was really strong when she first came out. She's still a great tank overall. I'd say she's one of the better, if not best, tanks on the lineup. So yeah, she was great. But I think Ultron sold it a little bit more for me. He added so much to the healer slash strategist. the fact that he could fly and just do damage, he didn't really have to focus on healing. That in and of itself, the fact that he didn't have to focus on healing was cool enough. But the fact that he could fly and that was a really good healer if you wanted to escape people that are kind of melee and ground based like Wolverine, Magic, Black Panther. They could still kind of catch you as Ultron, but they'd have a really hard time doing it as opposed to somebody like a Luna or a Mantis or, even sometimes a Rocket. So I think those were two great additions. I feel like they really did a lot for the game. So that's a strong start to the season. And with them, we also had new team ups, and we lost old team ups. And I want to say this was the first time that happened within the game. So we lost the old Mag team up with him and Scarlet Witch, but we got a new one with him and Psylocke and Emma Frost. And I feel like this was a cool one. I haven't seen too much of it competitively this season, but it was cool that we got new team ups. And I think the most dominant one was the Hulk and Namor team up. It was deadly. When they when this season started up, that team up was deadly. The new team ups overall, I think were a cool thing. It was sad that some of the, classic team ups that we got from season 0 are gone, but I think overall this is a good way to keep the game fresh, and I'm glad they did it. And then we got the battle pass. The battle pass was pretty nice. It's not my favorite one, but it was decent. It was nice. They had a lot of cool gala fits. This whole thing was the Hellfire Gala inspired season, and I'll talk more about the actual Gala Star event later on. But I think the battle pass was pretty strong this season. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the best, but I do like a lot of the fits that they introduced. They just weren't my favorite personally, but and before I move on, I do want to talk about a few other notable things that we did get from this season. So I don't remember if we had this in other seasons, but they did have these cool Discord quests for Emma and Ultron where you can kind of, just play the game and then you'll get these kind of cool little characters on your Discord profile. So I think that was pretty nice. We got the PlayStation Cup. I don't know if they had any for like, Xbox or, PC already had, tournaments and stuff like that. But it's cool that they had a PlayStation Cup tournament with like the whole PlayStation League. Those are cool. I haven't gotten to participate in any of the tournaments yet, but I like that that's an addition. We got the emojis. The emojis are really cool. They're a really fun way to kind of converse with your team. They really add something outside of just the sprays. And the sprays got updated, so now you have a wheel for the sprays and you have a wheel for emotes and everything. I think that was a good quality of life thing. And lastly, we got like the art videos. So they'll kind of go behind the scenes and give you like a look into how they did the music and the art of the game. And I haven't watched all of them, but I really like that they added that this season. It's outside of actual gameplay, but it's cool. I like that they're giving us more stuff to enjoy about the game. All right, now the next thing I wanted to talk about were the skins, and let me start with the free skins. So this season actually brought in a ton of free skins. There were so many skins that you could unlock this season. So just off rip, Scarlet Witch was the, I want to say, first free skin that you can kind of unlock in the game. Just off rip, as soon as the season started, you could get the Scarlet Witch skin as long as you did a few events and stuff like that. Mantis had her Flora costume from another event. And then we also had Hawkeye get a kind of Cerebro or Ultron inspired skin. So those three were really cool. And then from the Battle Pass, you got Iron Fist Agamotto skin, which that one was probably my least favorite in all honesty. I love Iron Fist, but that skin I didn't care for. I have it, and I just don't use it. But Magic also got a free skin, and I think it was really, really cool. She had the X-Men skin, and I was so glad that they got that for free. I'll talk a little bit more about the X-Men skins in a bit, but yeah, that one was cool. And then we got the kind of gold peanut butter jelly Emma Frost skin. I can't unhear that it's like peanut butter jelly looking now, but it was free if you made it to like gold rank, I believe, at the first half of the season. So that was cool. And then we had the Wolverine skin. Oh my gosh, that one Logan skin with the tux and the eye patch, the patch skin. Oh my gosh, bro. I did not expect them to give that to us for free. That was insane. You pretty much just had to do another event like the whole Hellfire Gala voting thing, which I'm gonna talk about that too. But that, oh my gosh, that was arguably the best skin that they gave us. And then three other skins that you could unlock were the Will of Galacta skins. So Namor got one, and then Emma Frost got one, and then Magic got one. So, Magic already had a free skin, like I said, throughout the battle pass. You just had to unlock it. But it was still cool for like Emma. Emma didn't have too many skins, especially like free ones in this season, ironically, since she's the host. That was really weird that they didn't have too many skins for her for us to get. So this was cool for the Emma Frost players to unlock a new skin and a new emote. And Namor is just also cool because there's not too many free Namor skins as well. So I think all of those free skins were cool. Like I said, I love them giving us free stuff. That makes me love the game that much more. But while we're on the topic of skins, let me talk a little bit about two specific type of skins that we got this season. So the X-Men skins, as I mentioned earlier, that was one of the only things that really made me want the season pass like that. That Psylocke X-Men skin, oh my gosh, bro. The X-Men skins, I just love them. But I was like, dang, I want this so bad. It took everything in me not to get it. But yeah, I think the X-Men skins are great. Namor's is really cool. I think they only gave us three this season, but Magic, Namor, and Psylocke. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the other one was the Peach Momoko skin. So if you didn't know, Peach Momoko is a artist and she works on a lot of Marvel comics, if I'm not mistaken. And she had a hand in a lot of the Japanese inspired skins. So, the like Ninja Spider-Man that we got at the beginning of the battle pass, the one kind of almost samurai looking Punisher, and then my personal bias favorite was the Penny Parker skin. It gave me a skin that wasn't the Venom skin for Penny Parker that was really cool. The other ones are just kind of color swaps, which aren't necessarily a bad thing, but the Peach Momoko skins are great. They are some of the most unique skins in this game, and I like that they're kind of giving that artist a chance to shine and put her work out in the game. And the MVP screen, like I said, for the Penny Parker one was really cool. So I love the Peach Momoko skins. The Storm was great, but those are great. And in line with the skins, we did get something very interesting and somewhat controversial, and those are the unstable molecules. So, if you don't know what the unstable molecules are, they're basically a form of currency to get these alternate colors throughout the game. So, certain skins will have these, and they're continuing it into season two, they're continuing on with it. But the thing about these were that you couldn't just quite unlock these. You pretty much had to either buy them with lattice off rip or purchase them with units. And I don't even know if you could purchase them with units at first. I think that might have been something they changed. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it was just kind of lame because they're color swaps and some of the base alternate colors or base alternate skins that you get in the game are about 600 and that's what they'll kind of run you, but it's the fact that you pretty much had to use lattice to get them, and even with units that's still a bit of a lot. Like I said, there's other costumes that do it, but still, the fact that it's kind of promoted as these custom colors and they were really just a color swap that you couldn't really change around. It wasn't that cool, but they've kind of fixed it. So going into next season, you'll be able to unlock them through like Battle Pass and everything. It's stuff that they're kind of unlockables now, and I think that's really cool. And overall, I do like the customizable options. I kind of made a video on it season three. The customization looks like it's going to be really cool. So I had mixed feelings about the unstable molecules at first, but I do like what they're doing with them, and that they're adding more of the alternate colors, and they're going more into it. I like what they've done. And one thing that sets all of these seasons apart from one another are the events. So I don't want to talk about all the events. I just want to get on some of the bigger ones. But, obviously we had the Gala Star event, and this one was really sick. This one was the one where you can kind of unlock the Wolverine skin, but it was you got to vote on pretty much who was going to get another gala skin next year, and everybody voted Emma Frost. But it was still a cool event. I like that everybody could like just kind of participate and then get something out of it. That one was really cool. We had like a little welcome sign event. I think you unlocked maybe some units from it. We had like the Cerebro database kind of events where you unlock like I said, the free skins with like Mantis, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye. And one big one that happened in the middle of the season that was just brand new to like the game was the Ultron's Battle Matrix protocol. That one was really fun. That was probably one of my favorite events to come to the game, in all honesty. It was just really unique. It was like an experimental kind of thing, but it was just kind of like a solo experience. You didn't need like a team for it. You had to assemble a team, but it was like a AI kind of auto chess mode. It was really fun. It was pretty long, and I thought I had more time than I had to like unlock the emote, but I still had a good time playing it. I hope they bring it back. I hope that's the maybe comp mode that they're working on if they kind of flesh that out and make like maybe a competitive mode to that. Because a solo kind of experience would be fun. If not, that's fine. But I did enjoy my time with it, and I do hope that gets brought back. We also had these two bobblehead modes, so they were basically like arcade mode, but you had like these giant heads and you got a free emote from it. They had one to where it was like Clone Rumble, and because I think it was just the regular kind of bobblehead mode, and then they made a new one where it was like almost Clone Rumble on top of it, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a minute, so I have to like refresh my memory, but it was a fun little mode. Like I said, it was basically just arcade mode with big heads, but I still thought it was fun, and I hope they do kind of maybe put a few spins on that. Anything that's Clone Rumble related, if they brought that back again, that was pretty cool. But and two really controversial events, right? So we had the return of the Season Zero Battle Pass and the 616 Vault. So a lot of people were kind of mad that they brought back the season zero stuff because they felt that it was kind of not exclusive for the people that joined the game early on, and the people that got the 616 content. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. I played season zero. There was a maybe what one free skin that I got. I think the Hella skin or something like that was free in season zero. Don't care. They can get it. Like, and plus they had to pay for it, and it was a little bit more than it actually cost. So I don't really care about the exclusivity of it and all. It is cool when we have like exclusive skins and stuff like that, so that when somebody's played. But we have things like I said, Flora Mantis. We have like other skins from like the other seasons, like, a few Scarlet Witch ones where you see it and you're like, oh, this character, they've played the game for this long. There's other free skins outside of that we have to show that you played the game for that long. Every skin doesn't have to be exclusive to a season. I don't like the whole FOMO thing. So I think it's really cool that they brought it back. And I do like that it was like a limited time thing. So you can't just always get it, maybe. But I think it's cool. And I wouldn't mind if they brought back some of the other season passes for those that didn't get to participate. Or, say the 616, right? The Rocket skin. I wanted that one so bad, but I just did not want to pay for it. And I was hoping it would come back maybe next Christmas or something like that. Because it was really eating me up that I didn't get it. And I almost did want to just go back and pay for it, but it just was too late. But they brought it back. They brought out the Christmas rocket skin, and I immediately got it. I had enough units to go and get it. I was waiting for that day they brought it back, and they brought it back, and I got it. So me personally, I don't mind the whole bringing back certain things. I think it's really cool, and I enjoyed it. I think it's a good thing for the game that they are bringing some of these things back. But and then the last two events were kind of new too. They were the combat chest and Venom's bubblegum pop. So the bubblegum pop was almost kind of similar to Galactus gift, and I do want to bring up Galactus gift last. But these two are kind of similar to Galactus gift, except they're like small battle passes, so you don't really get any units and stuff by completing them, but you can get like a new skin from each of them. So we got like the Mr. Fantastic skin and the Johnny Storm skin, the Future Foundations, and those were completely free. So I think those were cool. I do enjoy those. There was like a option of you buying them, but you didn't have to buy them, and they were just nice to be put in the middle. I'm not mad that they are monetized. You know what I mean? The game kind of has to get its bag. I'm not mad at them for having optional purchasable content. I know it eats up people's wallets, but hey, it is what it is. But I like those two, and I like that you can get some free stuff out of it. Now, the last event that I would like to talk about to kind of segue into my last topic and kind of get from the good to the bad was Galacta's Gift. This was such a mixed bag. Now, I love Galacta's Gift. I think this was a really great event. You got some really cool stuff out of it. You didn't have to pay for any of it, if I'm not mistaken. So you got, the Doom nameplate, you got a spray, you got a couple sprays, and you got another Doom nameplate. You got some free stuff, and then the coolest thing that you got was the costume coin. So the prior season they introduced the costume coin, and you basically get a free skin for certain characters, like, well, all the characters, but certain skins were free, right? And before this it was kind of monetized. You had to buy the like pickup bundle for it, which was a little bit corny, but I like that they have it so that it's an unlockable thing now. And it does seem like they are going to bring out Galactus Gift again, and I think that's cool. I don't mind that. I like that they're bringing out another costume coin because this was a free event, and I hopefully it stays free. Hopefully they do this every season, even twice a season wouldn't be bad. But there's one thing about this that I absolutely hate, and I think it single-handedly ruined this season, and those are the Chrono Shield cards. Now, if you don't know what the Chrono Shield cards are, they are the death of this game. They are they are basically Chrono Shields, but you get four of them. Well, no, you get eight of them within Galactus event. And what they do is basically they function as another Chrono Shield. So if you lose a match, it keeps you from, losing points. Now, obviously, this was very controversial because the kind of idea, the immediate reaction was that, oh, this is going to be a purchasable thing and it's going to be pay to win. And fortunately, that was not the case. It's a free thing. And, apparently, according to the developers, they said that this was going to be used for those players who have a hard time ranking up and, just help them get a little bit further on. It'll help them rank up. In their defense, once this season started, it was very hard to rank up. And that kind of leads me into the matchmaking part of this. That'll be the last part of this video, and it'll kind of start to go into more of a rant. So be ready for that. The matchmaking has always been a problem in Marvel Rivals, and honestly, that's a whole nother video that I can make. But I'll try to keep it simple and just talk about respective to this season, right? So we started off this season with a 9 division demotion. This means that you could have ended season 1 at Grandmaster 3, and that would have started you at season 2, Gold 3. And that's an insane drop off because that the margin of that is so wide. Do you know the difference between a gold player versus a grandmaster? Now, adjusting for inflation because it is season 2.5, but even if we adjust for inflation for this season, that is still just huge disparity in matches, dog. Now, there were a few things that did help mitigate this. For one, once you got to Gold 1, you did have bans. I don't remember if this started in season 1.5 or in season 2, but it was an option that was there. And not only that, but they did tweak the point system to where once you lose, especially if you're doing really well, and it varies between characters, but you basically lose less points when you do well in the game on average. And I think that does help. That is a huge thing that I will give them for the matchmaking this season is that they did tweak the point system, and I do generally lose less points, so I will give them that. And in all honesty, just about every season kind of has a rocky start. You're kind of trying to climb through those ranks. And it starts off kind of bad because you have people who really you're kind of mixing those higher players with those kind of lower players. So it is rough to start, but after a while, usually the seasons go on a little bit better, and the bad players kind of get weeded out. The thing about that was right around the time where those players would have gotten weeded out, that's where we got Galactus Gift, and that's where we got the chrono cards. And I just remember seeing because I was starting to get good matches at this point. I was starting to have some decent win streaks, and it felt like I was playing with some decent players. And all of a sudden, I started to see because I had taken a brief break from playing. I hadn't played as much, but I started seeing people talking to me and like, oh man, I done had a crazy lose streak. And I'm like, really? I hadn't played in a few days, so I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." So I hopped on, and sure enough, I had a lose streak, and I was like, "What?" And I had never had so many bad matches back to back since the game dropped, and I'm sitting here like, "What? How is this happening?" Right? And then I put two and two together, and this was not maybe a day or so after the Chrono Shield kind of debacle. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh, these ranks are getting inflated due to the Chrono Shields. And I know some of y'all might be thinking, well, they can only use the chrono shields in gold and below. They don't affect the higher players. And I would argue that it's probably the opposite. You're going to have bad matches regardless in gold and below. However, you can use the chrono shields up until you get in gold, and they're automatic, yes, but if you're already kind of fluctuating between gold and platinum, then you're really just sitting there the whole time at gold unlocking these chrono tokens, and then you don't have to be the greatest to get out of gold. No offense to anybody that is stuck in gold, but if you're like somebody that needs to be in platinum or whatever, you can kind of easily just stay in platinum. It doesn't matter how many times you lose because you're always gonna get back to gold and then keep yourself from losing. You have 8 different tries to not get back in gold. All right. And it only takes a few times of you to get in, say, platinum. And the matchmaking is already terrible. So we already had players throughout the seasons that would kind of sneak their way into platinum or diamond just because they kind of got carried for a few matches, because that's kind of how this system works, unfortunately. And so if we have the chrono shield or chrono tokens on top of it, it's so horrible because now not only do you have the bad matchmaking kind of boosting these or players up where they don't need to be, but now they have that extra block of, oh, I'm not gonna go back to gold because I have these chrono tokens. They could have been in plat the whole time and about to get ready to knock back to gold, and now they can't fall back to gold because they have that insurance of, I'm not gonna lose these points. And it's just like you don't have that in the higher ranks. So, you have more people coming in from these lower ranks just kind of infiltrating platinum. And that made platinum extra hard because now, right around the time where a lot of people made it to platinum, that's where these other players are coming in with these cards, getting stuck in platinum. And just the amount of bad players that have inflated these ranks. And I might be coping, I might be blaming this on the chrono cards, but regardless, the matchmaking is still horrible. It's horrible. If it's not the chrono shields, I don't know what to blame. Like, the matchmaking has been so buns. Do you know how many just bad players I've had? How many throwers? How many healers that don't heal? How many DPS that go negative? How many matches I've had to solo tank? It's insane. I got to the point, and I've done this in other seasons, but I got to the point where I'm like, well, let me use Rocket. I can usually carry as Rocket because I can revive somebody. He's got good healing, and he can survive pretty well. So at least if I'm the healer, it's less likely that we're gonna lose because I'm a really good healer. Rocket is one of my 3 main characters, but it's still bad. It's like, bro, I shouldn't have to do that to play the game. Give me some decent players. And heck, if you're gonna do all this chrono shield business, because let's be honest, They knew what they were doing. They didn't need to do this. They could have just fixed the matchmaking. They know that the matchmaking is the issue, yet they never address it and they never fix it. They always kind of tiptoe around it and put band-aids on it, but they never fix the main issue. And I get that, they want to have this trash matchmaking just because it, keeps people playing or whatever. I think it's dumb, but please fix it, dog. Or, hopefully that's what comes out of this new comp mode, but I really hate it. I think that's the number one thing for me that ruins this game is the matchmaking, and those Chrono Shield cards I feel like just enhanced that substantially, just made it 8 times worse. So for these reasons, just with the god awful matchmaking, that's what makes season 2 the worst season for me. I think they cut up with everything else. I think the free costumes were amazing. I think the thing that they did with the unstable molecules ended up being good in the long run for like customizations. I like the emojis and emotes and everything they did, but the matchmaking is just the worst this season. And hopefully next season they tweak it a bit. I don't think they'll fix it, but I hope that they at least mitigate it a little bit. But that's pretty much my rant. That's the only thing that I really just can't stand about season 2 and just Marvel Rivals in general. But let me know what you think. Let me know how you like this season. Did you enjoy season 2? Which was it your favorite? Did you hate the season? Did you hate the chrono cards? Let me know how you felt and what are you excited for? What are you most excited for in season 3? Let me know all that in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and like for more. And with that being said, that's the end of the video, and I am out. Peace.